TB back here just a moment. This is right here, just the same session on the that I was doing with the chili cook-off. Here is the arrowhead. The arrowhead that I got out of the fire. I'm fixing to show you how to make it. You stick it down in the grease while it's hot, and that re-hardens that. I'm surprised it ain't smoking much. But anyway, it's melting. It's hot. Getting that grease hot. That's the same grease that I used whenever I made my knife. Right there in that glass jar. The only thing about doing it in a glass jar, you could heat that grease so hot. I never thought about it, but it might bust the jar. That'd be funny. Have a mess everywhere in here. Pardon me, I gotta get this over here and clean it off now. That one will pretty much do it. Lay it over here somewhere to cool now. And then wipe that oil down and everything will be good on that. Alright, that's all I had to say after I got getting ready to go eat my chili now. It's all ready. I just found my arrowhead when I opened the stove to check the wood, which I'll show you my cook stove with a little more detail since I'm here. All you have to do, you just put your wood in there and paper under to get started, and I just put a little bit of kindling under there when I want to build a fire. Usually it takes me 20 or 30 minutes, but like I say, I got to clean that chimney now because I used that crazy old mulberry we have growing around here in the bottoms. That old mulberry, what it does, when it's not dried good, it's all right after it dries good, cures good, dry wood burn it. It's not so bad. But while it's got green and sappy like I had to use on top of what dead wood I had left to heat my house that one day and put sap under the dead chimney. Now I've got to swab that chimney out, which I'll clean it, it's no problem. I just have to get up on the roof and take the rain cap off. And it is a little bit of a problem, but not that big a deal. And it's time to clean it anyway, and I'll just clean it all out good and be safe, and then the fire will go out the right way. Oh, every so many years I bought the heavy black wall pipe because I didn't want to burn my house down. But every so many years, I guess I watch that because if any holes get in it, or if it starts showing any type of holes when the lights are out, I change that pipe out. I go buy a new pipe. I don't care what it costs. It's better than losing your home. Don't buy that thin wall black wall pipe because it won't last till you get it out of the box. This has been in here. Well, this piece here I put in new, and here this last year, and this pipe here, the elbow and stuff's pretty new over here. But there's a piece behind the stove here that's been in here probably 5 or 6 years. Ain't caused me no trouble up to now. It got stopped up, but that's on account of that sap, I think, pretty much. But once I clean that chimney out and get back to using this dead wood like I'm supposed to, I don't like to cut green trees because we don't have many of them anyway. And the thing about it is the green trees leave a lot of sap if you burn them. You have to let them cure a while, at least 6 months a year. Now the best firewood I ever burnt, you're going to laugh, that put out the most heat was persimmon. Persimmon, you don't burn it when it's green. You wait till it cures good and dry. And persimmon thickets or dead wood makes good fire. We bought a place up there in Craig County that had a lot of persimmon on it. Persimmon and ash. The persimmon was better than the ash because the ash had been wind twisted by tornadoes and it was hard to split. Ash is usually splits like glass, not up there. That stuff you couldn't split with a stick of dynamite. I saw people using log splitters that it just almost didn't split. Some of it didn't split right. Wouldn't split it down right with them knots in it and the way it was twisted. But I like persimmon when it's dry. It's a good wood. And I like hunting in persimmon thickets because persimmon thickets is where you'll find your deer and your possums and your coons. They work on that persimmons down here in Oklahoma. So that's a good place to find game. I've caught a lot of possums, coons, and stuff like that in their persimmon thickets. Your possums like persimmons real good. I don't know about squirrels, but I have killed squirrels around the persimmon thickets, so I assume they probably do too. I don't know. But I'll tell you, when I coon hunted, I learned one thing. If you didn't hear the hoot owls hollering in the night, you probably ain't gonna get no coon down here. Out in the bottoms where I hunted. If those hoot owls are hunting, the game's moving because they see it. And that's when they go to hooting a lot. When they go to hooting a lot during the night, they see game running up down the trees, game moving through the forest. That's when I got my best hunts. That's a little tip for you folks. On hunting, that's how I got most of my game. But if the hoot owls don't holler a lot, you may get some game, but not as much. I'm gonna put it that way. One night I got 5 coons in one night. But those hoot owls were caught. And it several times that happened. I had an old black and tan hound back then. We called him Grandpa. I trained a lot of other dogs with him. And that dog, if he went out there, he was what you call a hot-nosed dog. He would circle, a big circle. And if he didn't pick up anything, the trouble with him was he was just a hot-nosed dog. He wouldn't trail. If it was a cold trail, he'd just forget it. He'd come back to you, so we'd load up and go somewhere else. Move to another creek. And we'd go till that dog, every time we let him out, if he went out there and he opened up, we knew we was going to have a coon. That dog, I put him up against the best walkers in the world at that time. We called him Grandpa. He's just an old dog. I got him when he was about 10, and he died when he was about 15 because he got cancer of the shoulder. I was about 8 or 9 then, maybe 10. My dad told me, he said, you know what's got to be done, son? He said, you know, we can't save him. He's going to suffer. If you don't do it, I will. So I had to put the dog down, 22. Anyway, we couldn't afford the vet bills on him. I took him over to the vet. The vet told me it was going to be, I think, $35 or $40 for the surgery, and he didn't guarantee he would live anyhow. He had to take his whole shoulder off. Now, a dog wouldn't be no good for hunting in that shape anyway, and with the odds of him dying anyway, I wasn't about to pay it. They told me chances are he wouldn't live. So that's why we had to put him down. He's buried at Bushy Head, Oklahoma. I went to Chelsea High School, is where I grew up at. There, Bushy Head was just 9 miles out of Chelsea, north of Chelsea, Oklahoma. But anyway, I had several good dogs out of him, and I had one we called Little Blackie. Little Blackie was part pit and black and tan. He was about an 1/8 pit. He was a run of litter. Nobody wanted him. And that dog saved my life more than once. I probably told this story about the cougar deal, probably in the other stories, so I won't get into that tonight. My chili's getting cold, so I'll save that story for another night. Good night, folks, and thank you for tuning in to TB's Cabin and stuff. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See if we can shut